I'm Lauren from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is the official GonnaGeek.com show. Here we're a bunch of geeks talking about geeky things. Each week we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven.
But what if I'm in the mood for a T-Swift story?
Chris.
I've heard the X is going to give it to you.
And SP.
That's how we roll on Gonna Geek on Monday night. We get crazy!
Gonna Geek Productions presents the official GonnaGeek.com show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. I am Steven John Drew, and with me, of course, is the wonderful Chris Farrell.
I'm the king of the accidental mix minus.
We also have, of course, Stargate Pioneer.
You're gonna say my full name, you have to say starring Stargate Pioneer. We talked about this before in contractual negotiations.
Do you like my pregnant pause that I have there, which is slightly different than your pregnant pause that you usually have?
I don't know what the difference is.
I don't want to know what the difference is. I'm really scared.
All right. Well, we're not here today to talk about SP's pregnancy. He is pregnant. We're here to talk about the latest in happening, and him personally, by the way, not his wife, but he is. We're here to talk about the latest happenings in the world of geek, and we want to remind you, by the way, that if you've never checked out the show before, we do stream live on Mondays at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time at www.geeks.live. So please do come by, drop by. That's 8:45 p.m. Eastern at geeks.live. Check it out. Heckle us and watch the magic made. Not the magic that got SP pregnant, though.
You need to stop spewing that slander around. I'm gonna sick my lawyers on you.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on into the news. Here we go. All right, this news came out of left field in recent weeks here. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't see this one happening. You might have heard of a couple of small companies. These ones are ones that are somewhat new to the world of technology. Forgive me if I pronounce them wrong. The one is called Best Buy, and the other one is called Amazon. So those two companies, I think I got that right. They are fairly new to technology. And if you weren't familiar, they actually run a little bit different business practices. One of them likes to be in the retail storefront. You walk into a Best Buy. The other one is electronic, and it's all clickety click, 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 order your space shuttle from Amazon. So that doesn't always make a very good fit. Well, guess what? They have announced that the two of them are working together, which, if you're not familiar, they've actually been rivals in the past, but they're working together to sell Amazon's new Fire TV Edition smart TVs. This deal is going to allow Best Buy to use some of course, Amazon's market to get some leverage. And what these TVs are going to have is Fire TV built into them. So Best Buy is rumored to be launching about 10 different models, some 4K, some non-4K televisions that will have Fire TV special feature integrated. They're going to come from the wonderful brands of Toshiba and also, this one here, top tier television, Insignia. That's like the best that you can get.
I got two of them still kicking around in this house after several years.
I have one up. No, I have one in the house.
I got one. It's in my kitchen.
Yeah. I do have two of the, I think they were the Future Shop brand, which was essentially the same thing, of Dynex TVs, DYNEX.
That's also a Best Buy brand. Matter of fact, Insignia is Best Buy's top tier brand, while Dynex is the lower tier brand.
I think Dynex, though, I think they acquired it from Future Shop back when they bought Future Shop in the day.
Perhaps
what
they
you want.
did. Or maybe you just bought the cheapskate TV.
I did. I'm looking at it right now because why would I want your face on anything except something cheap?
Well, I mean, I can turn this down to like 480p to make my face be a little less clear.
All right, guys, I got 2 words for you. 2 words about this deal. And just don't stop me until I'm done saying both words.
Okay.
Word number 1, showrooming. Word number 2, bankruptcy.
Oh, it's so it hurts because it's true. I was in Best Buy this past week for I've been trying to find a new battery for my drone. Hey, I haven't talked about that on here yet. And I thought maybe I'd get lucky over there. And I walked down these aisles and they're so empty. It's so sad. There's so many empty aisles now. Like they obviously have some inventory, but they're not full like they used to be. It's horrible.
Shelves are a lot shorter.
I think some of their models online now too, though.
They have the big flag for me with some of these companies is that they have now a marketplace. It's like you take a look and you see Best Buys and Walmarts have a marketplace. Yeah, that's a little bit odd to me, but oh well.
In case you didn't know, Best Buy has been flirting with bankruptcy off and on. They've done several restructures. They've closed poor performing stores. They've done a lot of things to try to stay afloat. They're just not competing with the likes of Amazon. The one thing about the Best Buy stores, including their mall, what are they called? The Best Buy mobile stores or whatever. The one thing about the Best Buy stores is you can either go in, grab something really quick, like you used to be able to do with Radio Shack or whatever, and you can showroom stuff. Like I went in to take a look at Atmos level sound bars the other week and to look at their drone aisle, which was actually pitiful in my store. But I went in just to see that stuff. And then I walked right out. I didn't buy anything. And yet I bought my drone online. So there you go.
I think this is a move Amazon kind of has to make, though, because when it comes to TVs and stuff, I like to see them before I buy them. The last couple TVs I've bought, I went to a store. I played with them. I got an idea of what the apps were that worked on it, what the picture looked like. I tweaked the picture to figure out the settings. It's kind of a hard sell to be Amazon be going, hey, here's a TV, you're going to love it, but I don't have a chance to look at it. I know they have a generous return policy, but it's a pain in the butt returning a flat screen TV. So It's a smart move on Amazon's part. And if Best Buy gets a few extra sales out of it on TVs they weren't going to get, I guess they win there. What's really interesting, though, is seeing that Insignia is going to start having Fire TV TVs instead of having Roku TVs, because they had been a Roku brand until recently. So who's going to pick up Roku now? Because I'm sure Roku is going to find another partner. It's easy enough.
I'm never going to buy intentionally a smart TV ever again anyway, because they go out of date so quickly. They're not made with the most advanced technology and chips and everything. So within a year, they become obsolete. So why even bother with a smart TV?
Netflix app is a great example on that. How many TVs have people used the Netflix app only had to substitute with something else because Netflix stopped supporting that television, right? Like it's such a great example. Earlier, SP, before we get off this, you mentioned the term showrooming. For those of the listeners who aren't familiar with showrooming, what exactly is it?
So showrooming is basically what Chris just described. You go in, you take a look at what you're trying to buy physically, you turn the dials on it, and you walk right out and you search for the cheapest price online and you get the best deal online. So the store that you went into and you experienced the showrooming of, you never actually patronage. And that is exactly what has been happening with Best Buy. So this deal is basically giving some incentive to Best Buy to continue to be in existence to do that showrooming for Amazon. I thought that Amazon might make a deal with Target because it's a little bit more along the lines of their holistic marketplace eventually. And eventually they still might do that. They might cut their deal with Best Buy and go with a big retailer like Target. And we'll see what happens long term. But this deal makes sense to me because Best Buy was not going to last that much longer. I was scratching my head to think if Best Buy was actually going to make it to this holiday season before closing.
See, I think that they did Best Buy for two reasons. Number one, the potential of Best Buy problems down the road, so no long-term issues with that, as opposed to some company that might be around a little bit longer. But the main thing I think with this is because Target is too similar to Amazon in many ways, right? Aside from the whole electronic versus physical thing, they have too much overlap. So at least with Best Buy, it's just technology.
Well, remember the two words that I said. One was showrooming. What was the other one?
Bankruptcy.
Yeah, what's Target been flirting with?
Not bankruptcy. Have they
Bankruptcy.
been? Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry. They came into Canada and decided to spend an obscene amount of money to try to break into the Canadian market, only to pull out like a year and a half later. So I don't follow
it didn't
Target.
work out.
No.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is there was a rumor about a year and a half ago, which will probably pick up steam again, that Amazon was looking into acquiring Target. So that could be interesting. We'll see what happens there. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not, but it bubbled up at one point, and if Target's financial outlooks look poor, we know Amazon has cash to burn.
Absolutely. So we'll see what happens with this. In any case, your high quality Insignia television might have some Fire TV capabilities. Ooh, maybe it'll work a lot better than my Fire TV Basic, which seems to freeze up all the time. Chris, you had a story that you were going to tell about how I was right. Isn't that correct?
I never tell stories about how you're right.
This one's going to pretty much tell how I was right. Go ahead.
I refuse to acknowledge that you've ever been right. I am now not going to do my news on protest.
Well played. Okay. I'm wrong. There you go. Continue with your news.
Perfect. So we were talking about companies throwing around money in SP's story. Well, there's been some money thrown around. We talked about before how Disney was acquiring 21st Century Fox, meaning they could bring in the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and things like that. Well, there was almost a hang-up, though. Evidently, Comcast outbid Disney at one point in time, but they did not go with them. There's some details of Comcast's proposal that came out this week in a 456-page filing that the Securities and Exchange Commission had. The filing revealed that Comcast offered to pay a 16% higher per share offer for Fox, partially a result of the company refusing to pay for any protections. But the big thing is here, rather than the $29.54 that Disney offered, Comcast proposed a whopping $34.41 per share in November. So the real question is, why did Rupert Murdoch go with Disney then? Because he was going to make a boatload more money if he went with the Comcast side of things. Well, pretty much what it comes down to is when you put a proposal together like this, sometimes you have a breakup fee that you can put into effect where a company can say, hey, if this doesn't go through, here's what we'll pay as a breakup fee because things didn't happen and the Department of Justice might have rejected a deal. Comcast refused to agree on any kind of breakup fee, meaning if they tried to make a deal, they put an offer together, the Department of Justice broke it up a year later, everybody just split. Nobody got a cut of the money, anything like that. Meanwhile, Disney said, yeah, we'll put $2.5 billion down for the breakup fee. So if the deal goes south, you get $2.5 billion. So you're still making money off of it. Plus, let's be honest too, if you're Rupert Murdoch, you're looking to sell the Fox, the television catalog and the movie catalog and all of that, who's a better strategic fit? Is it going to be Disney or is it going to be Comcast? It's going to be Disney. And how this works out is now fans like myself have hopes that, we're about to wrap up phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the little flick called Avengers Infinity War that comes out this week. Well, phase 4 starts in 2019, which is about the same time the Fox and Disney deal is supposed to go through, which means that Disney then has rights to things like Fantastic Four and the X-Men. And hey, Marvel's going to want to bring more superheroes in because everyone's contracts will have expired. Maybe in phase 4, you get Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, back in some way, shape, or form. It's going to be exciting. That's not why they're acquiring Fox, but I'm just looking at it from the comic fan standpoint going, oh, we might get everyone in one shared universe. And I'm really excited. And I generally wouldn't be applauding companies getting bigger monopolies, but in this case, I'm kind of willing to overlook it. And I'm not sure if that makes me a bad person or not.
Well, you bring up an interesting point that I'm just going to take a quick side rant on, is that in this Avengers Infinity War, it is a shame that the Fantastic Four will not be a part of it, because the Fantastic Four would have been a part of anything like this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I heard this rumor a while back. I think it was December this first came out that Comcast had made a bid on it, and We never heard anything else, so I just assumed it was wrong information. But no, it's nice. It's nice to see that a company sold with more than just money involved. Now, I know that what you said means that the clause essentially was to do with money, but there was other factors that you listed, so it is kind of nice to see them looking at the whole picture. And I gotta say that between the two, absolutely Disney 10 out of 10 times, please. Thank you. It's a way better fit for these properties, especially with the idea of Disney princess Lisa Simpson.
That's true. They will own The Simpsons and Futurama. That means Leela is a Disney princess now, too.
Star Wars crossover.
It's true.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
The problem is Futurama takes place in the 31st century and Star Wars is in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago.
A special
time
crossover
travel.
Christmas episode.
Absolutely. There's just time travel involved, right?
Xmas.
Didn't Futurama do time travel at one point?
Multiple times.
Absolutely. So there you go. There's your solve. Problem solved. Stamp right there. So there you go. You can go ahead and send your royalties to me, Stephen John Drew. Send me an email, steven@gonnageek.com. I'll let you know which bank account to put it in. All right, let's find out why we're saying bye to Kepler and hello to Tess, which I believe is the wife on Ocean's 11, right?
That's true.
Yeah, that's right. So we teased it a little bit last week, but what happened between last week's show and this week's show is that we got a new space telescope up there and it didn't blow up on the way up. So that's good. And it's operating well, at least for now. Now it's not in its final position. We're going to go over a little bit about what's transpired though, because we talked about the Kepler before in an SP Space Symposium. So this is a compilation of at least 4 different articles from space.com and a couple other locations. That is what this information is from, because there was just a ton of information that came out about this last week. So we'll start off within the last decade. The number of planets known to orbit distant stars grew from under 100 to well over 2,000, with another 2,000 likely planets awaiting confirmation. Most of these new discoveries are due to a single endeavor, NASA's Kepler mission. Now, Kepler is a spacecraft that houses a 1-meter telescope that illuminates a 95-megapixel digital camera the size of a cookie sheet. The instrument detected tiny variations in the brightness of about 150,000 distant stars, looking for the telltale sign of a planet blocking a portion of the starlight as it transits across the telescope's line of sight. It's so sensitive that it could detect a fly buzzing around a single streetlight in Chicago from an orbit above the Earth. It can see stars shake and vibrate, it can see star spots and flares, and in favorable situations, it can see planets as small as the moon. Originally, the Kepler mission was planned to last for 3.5 years, with possible extensions for as long as the fuel or the camera or the spacecraft lasted. As time passed, portions of the camera began to fail, but the mission has persisted. However, in 2013, when 2 of its 4 stabilizing gyros, the reaction wheels, electromagnetic reaction wheels, stopped, the original Kepler mission effectively ended. We talked about this on the SP Space Symposium. But even then, with some ingenuity, NASA was able to reflect light from the sun to help steer the spacecraft. This mission was rechristened as K2 and continued finding planets for another half-decade. Now, with the fuel gauge near empty, the business of planet hunting is winding down and the spacecraft will be left adrift in the solar system. Enter NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite Mission, or TESS. It's led by MIT's George Ricker, and it launched on April 18th last week from Cape Canaveral's Air Force Station in Florida, rising off the top of a pad atop a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket and deploying into Earth orbit approximately 49 minutes later. It's a refrigerator-sized satellite, which, by the way, could fit in the rear bed of a 2018 GMC Sierra 4x4. TESS also differs from Kepler in the orbit. Where Kepler loops around the sun, TESS will zoom around our planet on a highly elliptical, about 14-day orbit that no spacecraft has ever occupied before. This orbit will take TESS as close to the Earth as 67,000 miles, and as far away as 232,000 miles. The satellite will be able to beam onboard data down to Earth quickly and efficiently during those close approaches. The orbit is incredibly stable and features relatively low radiation exposure and low thermal variation, which is key to its planet hunting mission and the stability of the instruments on board. But TESS is not going to get there for a while. After a number of engine firings and one dramatic maneuver, which is a close flyby of the moon on May 17th, actually, TESS will arrive in its final orbit in mid-June, if all goes according to plan. And this is what I alluded to last time, that we're going to really talk about it until it gets up there in its orbit and its instruments are tested. So the science campaign will start shortly thereafter. TESS will search for planets using the exact same detection technique that Kepler used, which was that transit method of the planets over the stars. And TESS observing pattern rather than staring at a single part of the sky will scan nearly the entire sky with overlapping fields of view, kind of like petals on a flower. Given what we learned from Kepler, astronomers expect TESS to find thousands more planetary systems, and by surveying the whole sky, we will find systems that orbit stars 10 times closer and 100 times brighter than those found by Kepler, opening up new possibilities for measuring planet masses and densities, studying their atmospheres, characterizing their host stars, and establishing the full nature of the systems in which the planets reside. This information in turn will tell us more about our own planet's history, how life may have started, what fates we avoided, and what other paths we could have followed. By the way, TESS will rely on a variety of other telescopes on the ground and in space to help determine which of its candidates are bona fide planets and to characterize the newly discovered worlds once characterized. One such partner, by the way, will be NASA's $8.8 billion James Webb Space Telescope, which is scheduled to launch in about 2020, which we talked before on this show. James Webb should be able to probe the atmospheres of at least a few test planets for oxygen, methane, and other possible signs of life. What was not mentioned in the buddy telescopes was the Hubble.
Okay, so 2 questions for you. Number one, let's just go down this route. Do we think that we'll actually be able to get an agreement on what a planet is? Because you said it'll determine a planet, but we can't even figure out the ones that we can see with like a regular telescope. That's a shot at Pluto. Question number 2 is, how much did you say that tinfoil stock went up? You mentioned that this could see a single fly around a lamppost in Chicago. I imagine tinfoil hats everywhere.
Well, that was Kepler. They didn't say what TESS could do.
Oh, I thought that was TESS. I misunderstood. Oh, still. Okay, well, then we know that it's really bad.
Well, conceivably, or it might have... We don't know if it has optics have issues just like Hubble did. We just don't know.
Oh.
And that's a lot of the reasons I didn't want to really go in depth on TESS yet, because there's just so much unknown. We'll know more later this year, probably about the July, August, September timeframe, before we start getting really good scientific information out and some really good shots at some transient planets across some suns, probably some ones that we've already characterized, so it can get a little bit of characterization in its own instruments.
And okay, before we move off this topic here, we should just quickly stop JS at GonnaGeek.com from getting a bunch of hate mail. And our resident Gonna Geek Network...
Stop it.
We'll just throw him a bone. He's got a new business now. Resident tinfoil hat maker of the Gonna Geek Network, Kent, in the chat does tell us that foil hats can't stop being seen. They only stop, in air quotes, mind control, which it doesn't. So just so you know, don't send your hate mail. We are aware of the differences. All right, so moving into our extra news section here. Oh, let's go ahead and continue down. Another space news story. Well, you put this one in here, SP, didn't you?
I did. This normally would have been my news for the week, but just in short, SpaceX has announced that it will build its next generation BFR rockets in Los Angeles, in the port of Los Angeles. That's where they're going to be built.
Wow. So let me ask you this. Why? Why there?
Probably because Elon Musk likes the West Coast, I'm thinking. Probably. I don't know why, because, the big earthquake's going to happen and it's all going to fall into the ocean, but yeah, he went ahead and did it. And he said in the article there was a variety of factors that the Port of Los Angeles was actually the perfect place to do it. I question that a little bit because, well, you're going to have to.
Space stuff is never done on the West, right?
Well, they are, but these are going to be big, giant rockets, and it's going to be difficult to get them from the West Coast to the East Coast to launch.
Takes a very long time to drive at regular highway speeds, and you're not getting regular highway speeds with the transportation here. So
I don't know if the segments are going to be small enough to fit in some of the big air transports. Now, with a lot of the rockets, what they did before is they transported them on barges, and the big rockets like Saturn V and stuff like that. And that's because they were made in the Gulf, but these aren't going to be made in the Gulf. They're going to be made on the West Coast. And I doubt that they'd want to take the time to run it down through the Panama Canal.
That makes no sense.
On up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what the transportation plan is. If any, as I was taking a look at this news story, they didn't really go into the transportation plan of the BFR when it was going to be made and then transported to the East Coast to Cape Canaveral. Yes, I know it could launch from the West Coast from Vandenberg, but I'm assuming they want to launch it from the big pad over in Cape Canaveral. And I was thinking, if anybody can solve this transportation problem, it would be Elon Musk. I mean, the man put his own car in space. So.
Hold on. We have just been saying the answer. It's Elon Musk, which we know what he does. And you've been saying
in the coat room with the wrench. Right?
You've been saying transporting it. We're talking Star Trek level transportation. That's what it is.
But he's going to need a subscription to CBS All Access in order to make it work.
All right, and finally in our extra news section here, let's just quickly talk a bit about how Samsung allegedly is getting into AR emoji videos. If you've ever lusted for your partner to be an emoji, Samsung might have the solution for you. That's right. They have been awarded a patent that combines Samsung's AR emojis with video chatting. So this is obviously all speculation at this point because it is just in the patent stage. But yeah, I guess you get to see your partner as an emoji. That makes sexting fun again.
Does it? Does it really?
Well, it does because now SP is going to wear the Chris Farrell emoji.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Nobody wants that.
No. Not even Chris Farrell wants that.
No, he really doesn't. You know what the Chris Farrell emoji does? It just does this.
For the audio listener, Chris is bobbing back and forth with, you go to twitter.com/Suncast. He'll tweet it on April 23rd, 2018. Guarantee. Twitter.com/Suncast. He's going to gif it. I know it'll be there. All right, Chris, tell me, why do you like Tide Pods? I want to know, why do you like Tide Pods?
Why do I like Tide Pods? Well, let's get some backstory here. It's because I like crowdfunding projects. Unlike Steven, I enjoy finding cool little projects on Kickstarter.
Oh, sorry, it doesn't say Tide Pods. I misread that. I'm sorry. You're not crowdfunding Tide Pods. My bad.
Well, I might be. I like them. They're tasty. So I like the French vanilla flavor.
Legal disclaimer, do not taste Tide Pods.
No, but we are talking about Tic Pods. It is another crowdfunding project I have found that I wanted to share with you guys. Like I was saying before, I've got a pretty decent back history of crowdfunding a bunch of stuff, be it comics, board games, the Enterprise D Bridge Museum they were building, and also some tech products. I've talked about on this show before the Portal router that I got and how much I love it and how well it's worked for my setup. And then there's also that Google/Amazon Voice Services Android tablet thing that was supposed to do both. It's so crappy, I don't even want to dignify it by giving it its name. It was poop. To quote one John Sebastian, très poo-poo, as he put it at one point on this show. Or it might have been on the Fanboy Buzz, I can't remember.
It doesn't matter. We all know what it is.
Still,
you have to say it right. Très poo-poo!
We should find a soundbite of that.
We really do need to find that. So what did I find? I found another tech-based project I wanted to share with you guys. I've already put my money where my mouth is. So let's talk about what is called the Tic Pods Free by a company called, and I'm probably going to screw it up, Mobvoi. Mobvoi. Now, you might have heard of these guys before. They are developing what is arguably some of the better Wear OS watches on the market right now. That's the new name for Android Wear. It is the TicWatch E and the TicWatch S. They also have made one of the first portable Google Assistant speakers you can take around with you from a consumer product perspective. They've also partnered with Google in China to provide Chinese voice service technology to Android Wear. It's important to note here that since about 2013, 2014, they've had a pretty tight relationship with Google. Why is this important? Well, I'll get to it in a second. What you're probably asking is, okay, Chris is telling us all about this company. What the expletive deleted is a Tic Pod. No, it is not an alternative name for a Tide Pod like Steven seemed to think. It's not something you can eat. What it is Bluetooth headphones. And when you go and look at these, and we'll give you links to it at some point, they look similar to AirPods in the fact that they're separate wireless earbuds. But however, unlike AirPods, they come in 3 different colors. AirPods you only get in white. They're offering right now through this Indiegogo project, red, white, and blue. They're very similar in appearance to the AirPods, however, as they're just basically little earbuds you can stick in your ear. They're very similar in the fact that also these buds have about a 4-hour battery span that they'll run for, but you can drop it in the case in about 15 minutes, get about an hour's battery life back, and it recharges back up to 4 hours life after full recharge. And they are projecting 14 hours battery life in the case. So really, you can just pop your earphones into the case, very similar to what you've seen with the AirPods and various other competitors like the Pixel Buds and things like that. Where it gets interesting right now, this case only charges over micro USB, not USB-C. That's something a lot of people have been scratching their heads about since USB-C is the future and all. We'll see what they do there. So what exactly can you do with these? They're not just Bluetooth headphones. They have some other little features that you might enjoy with them. One of the things they're selling this on primarily, which is why I became interested, is they will work natively with Google Assistant. They'll work natively with Siri. Supposedly they'll work with Amazon voice services. They haven't quite explained how to do that yet. But how do you do it? Basically, what they're saying is you can long press, take about 2 seconds and press on the stalk of the right Tic Pod, and it will trigger it will trigger either your Siri or your Google Voice Assistant, and you'll be able to tell it to play music, tell it to call your friends, do any of those things you would normally do with a voice service. That's pretty cool. It's something you can do with AirPods on iOS, but if you're an Android user who takes those AirPods and tries to run them on Android, you have to get some hacky other programs to run on your phone, and it sort of works about 75% of the time. This is going to be native voice assistant support that'll work through these phones. They do this with a touch panel on the side of the headphones, and there's a bunch of different things you can do with this touch panel. One of the biggest limitations right now with traditional earbud Bluetooth headphones is that you can't control things very well. You can't tell it to skip a track, to raise the volume, anything like this. Well, they're promising that with these Tic Pods, you'll be able to long press on the stalk, like I said before, to trigger your voice services. If you double tap on the stalk, it's going to skip a song, or if your phone is ringing, it will pick up the phone, so you can then talk to whoever called you over the Bluetooth headphones. If you swipe up on the stalk, it'll raise the volume. If you swipe down on the stalk, it's going to lower the volume. And this is based off of technology they have already that they've been using on their TicWatch since I want to say 2015 or 2016. And how did that work? You could basically scroll through all the apps by basically swiping your finger along the crown of the watch, and nothing spun it, just detected your finger moving there and swiped through apps. So it's based off tech they already have. And then they're also doing similar to what you've seen with the AirBuds, which is if you take one headphone out of your ear, it stops your music. So it has the automatic in-ear detection in there. Now, here's where it's also pretty cool. If you're someone who likes to wear your buds when you go to the gym and work out, they're IPX5 rated. That means rain and sweat resistant. Their warranty will cover any damage for rain and sweat for the first either 1 or 2 years. I can't remember. And they are Bluetooth 4.2, not Bluetooth 5.0 like you're starting to see with a lot of things, but still low energy Bluetooth. So the real question is, Chris, why did you back these? There's Bluetooth headphones everywhere on the internet. You can go on Amazon. You can find all sorts of earbud variants of them. You can find can variants of them. Why did you do it for this, Chris? Well, dongle life is really annoying. Steven, you probably know this feeling right now.
Yes.
When I upgraded to my Pixel 2, my Pixel buddy feels this pain. I lost my headphone jack, and it's super annoying 9 times out of 10 because You've got to plug in this adapter that doesn't always work right, then plug your headphones in. Using Bluetooth is just much simpler. And I have some Bluetooth earbuds I've been playing with right now, but about all they'll do is pair up and play and pause my music and answer calls. That's it. I like the fact that these products, the Tic Pods, would allow me to access the voice assistant, because then it's a matter of you just hold it down for 2 seconds, tell it to play some music, tell it to call your friend. You have the ability to control what's being done without pulling out your phone or having to pull up your watch and control things. But more importantly, volume control. What you don't see on a lot of these AirPod ripoffs is the ability to control the volume of these earbuds. They put a volume control directly on these headphones so that I can just take my finger up and swipe my finger up and down until I find the right volume. That's huge, because I don't know about you guys. When I wear headphones, more often than not, I'm either going to the gym or I'm going to the store or something like that. So it never fails, depending on where you are in the store, you've got to turn your music up because you can't hear because everyone's talking around you or it's the checkout lines. And instead of having to pull my phone out, total first world problem, I know, and unlocking the phone, raising the volume, locking the phone, I can just swipe my finger, raise the volume. Those were the first world problems that this addresses. That's why I wanted to get them. And that's the basics, the background of what these are. We haven't gotten a price or anything, but the tech seems relatively sound. The fact that they fielded Android Wear products that use similar tech, the fact that they did a pilot of this already in China that they're improving upon, I felt relatively confident backing this. I feel confident on the Portal router level. Not the confidence I sort of had in that one product that will remain nameless because it was poop.
Yeah.
Poop.
Okay, so you mentioned the volume up and down for the audio listeners. How exactly do you do that?
You literally, the stalk on the right earbud, you just swipe up or swipe down on the stalk and that raises and lowers the volume.
Okay, so swipe up and swipe down for the volume. How about swipe right or left for Tinder?
Exactly. Which, by the way, you might need once you've seen the GIF that is on this Indiegogo page, because the model is rubbing, definitely rubbing.
It's very
That she
essential.
is.
It's very essential. So, Chris, I have some questions. Are they space rated? Can I use them in my spacesuit?
I don't believe you can use them in your spacesuit. They don't have anything on there about it. I can ask on their comment page if you want, since I have backed it already.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Also, Can I use them during my halo jumps, my high altitude, low opening jumps, for some musical accompaniment on the way down?
Well, why don't you find out? We'll let you experiment with it.
All right, well, give me a pair and I'll go do it.
I will get you a pair.
And then finally, can we get some pairs to James Cameron so he can test them on his set of Avatar 2 underwater?
Yeah, if we ever get Avatar 2.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Well, this is pretty interesting. I hadn't actually heard about this until you sent this over. And I got to say that you find the coolest Kickstart Indiegogo crowdfunded campaigns. If you want to check this out, listener and viewer, it's geeks.link/TicPods. That's TICPODS. And if you want to know how to spell it, just go ahead, get yourself a thing of Tic Tacs, pour yourself a Tic Tac, and then just combine it with a Tide Pod and eat it. And then you got yourself a Tic Pod.
And as we wrap up the coverage on that, I did want to say real quick, this project was fully funded in 5 minutes. It went that fast. They were looking to get $50,000 when it started. As of when we recorded this on April 23rd, they're sitting at $744,934 from almost 7,000 backers with 24 days to go. So there are a lot of people that were interested in it. The thing that really bums me out is I missed the super early bird entry that was to get a set of these for $59. I ended up getting on at the price of $79. However, this Indiegogo exclusive tier seems like they're just gradually adding more and more slots to it. So if you want to get a pair, it seems like the $79 tier is going to be there until the project closes. But if you want other toys, I did see on there they're doing bundles with the Tic Watch, with their Google Assistant speaker that are relatively decently priced. So you could get an Android Wear watch to play with at the same time. What they're saying on their site, these will ship July of 2018. So I'm assuming these things, they tend to have some delays, things like that, especially if they pick up steam and become really popular. If I get them by August, September timeframe, I'm figuring that's a win. And whenever I get them and have a chance to play with them some, I will, of course, come back on the GonnaGeek.com show, describe my experience, and we'll determine whether this is equivalent to the Portal router or equivalent to that piece of crap tablet that was supposed to do Amazon and Google and did neither very well at all.
Well, I hope that it's in the portal category. And we do have a question in the chat, by the way, which was one that I have as well, which is, what about the order fulfillment? This is a lot of units that have been purchased. Suncast was asking that in the chat. How do you think they're going to fulfill all the orders?
Well, so what's going to be interesting is they're going to ship everywhere around the world for this, they said, and they were going to use DHL for the international shipping, which people were having issue with. Honestly, what I think the case really is here is they did their beta test in China. They probably took their lessons learned and manufactured a crap ton of them to then sell on Indiegogo. So these have probably already all been manufactured. So all of these people are asking about stretch goals, get Bluetooth 5.0 and USB-C. There's a reason why the vendors have not replied back and saying, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Probably because these have all been manufactured already.
I didn't consider that. That makes a lot of sense. So
Indiegogo does things a little differently than Kickstarter. So sometimes you'll see things where you're helping to support something, but they've probably already manufactured for some of the tech things. So it's not unheard of on Indiegogo. Kickstarter, you don't see it as often.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Stargate Pioneer. You have yourself an iPhone 8, which has no headphone jack. You
That's
bought
correct.
yourself the earbuds, didn't you?
No, it did not.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, so why? Okay, same question applies. Why does this interest you? Because
Yeah.
I want to know, why didn't you get the AirPods now?
Because they're too expensive.
Okay.
I do have some, $20 cheapo Bluetooth headphones that I use for the gym and stuff. They're a little uncomfortable for me, and they are in ear, so I can't use them in my ear for very long. But they've been working okay enough for me to explore other things. But I want good Bluetooth headphones, and I would love to have a good set of over the ear Bluetooth headphones. But everything that I see is like the over bass driven ones and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not interested in that. So, and the other thing is, if I'm using them in the gym, I don't want that. If you've ever tried to run, like way back when you had like the CD players and stuff, and you had big over the ear headphones that would slap against your head, they're really no good. So the only way that you can wear earphones and run would be to do the smaller ear buds, whatever they're called, inside your ear or over, like with the hanger over the ear, and then those are the best ones for me, because then they're not in the ear canal. And those are the ones that I'm looking for right now. And yeah, I'd be interested in this just because of the cord, the lack of the cord. I'll give you an example on that. So I'm out in the yard just last weekend. I'm mowing the yard and I'm using the edger, and the cord from these headphones, not these headphones that I'm wearing now, but I have other headphones that I'm wearing. The cord always gets snagged in something and then rips my iPod Classic out of my pocket. So I think I need to start transitioning into the one device, the iPhone 8 only. And the only way I'm going to do that is with Bluetooth headphones.
Well, hopefully this will pan out for Chris, and then you can go ahead and get one of that. The last time that Chris recommended something to you that was crowdfunded worked out for you as well, didn't it?
Yeah. So thanks for the early birthday present, Chris. I really appreciate you thinking about me with these AirPods.
Hey, no problem. There's a tier there to buy 2 of them at a discount rate even.
There you go. So you can buy one for you and one for your drone. But that is going to take us to the end of the show. Before we wrap up, we'll just take a moment here to remind you that we're part of the Gonna Geek Network. The Gonna Geek Network has a bunch of awesome geeky podcasts. You want to check that out at GonnaGeekNetwork.com. And many of them, you can guarantee over the next week, are going to cover the little indie flick that's coming out called Avengers. You're probably going to see a lot of people talking about that over on the Gonna Geek Network. If you're not familiar with the Avengers, well, then crawl out from under that rock.
I would, and I am going to see, well, if everything works out okay. I mean, I could have some family issues pop up, but I did buy tickets for Saturday afternoon, so we'll see about that. In the meantime, if you want to hear about somebody talk about the movie, we're going to go ahead and try to record about Avengers Infinity War on Sunday on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. And we'll try to stream that live, but it'll be after our normal recording for the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which oddly is not canceled for the week. It's still going on. So we're wondering what the join up between the two really is going to be in the hashtag It's All Connected Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I hope there's no connection since it's like a day after, the same day as
They already
release.
said there is.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not this week's episode, but the week after, because it's like this. It's the same day that it comes out.
It'll be this week.
Are we sure about that?
Well, they've got 4 episodes left, so I'm pretty sure we're at the point where the aliens show up.
So what you're saying is I can't watch it because I probably this weekend's less than likely, but next weekend should be okay. So I'll have to do the same thing.
You won't make it next weekend either.
Oh, you just stop it. The big movies I do. You just stop it. You're being unfair.
Steven, when did you see Thor Ragnarok?
Thor Ragnarok? I saw it last week. So there you go.
If there's any movie to get excited about and go see, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, that was one. This is one of the ones you want to go see in the first week or two. Now, Disney put out an official plea to everybody not to spoil the movie for the first 2 weeks that it's out. We're going to abide by that on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., by the way. So we're not going to tweet anything. And the only thing that we're going to have out is our live recording of our podcast that we're going to record on it. And I might not even get to release that until after the 2-week moratorium. But yeah, 2 weeks. So with that, Steven, I think you're safe for 2 weeks.
Garen, I'm going to be having to bounce like every website ever. Guaranteed. But I can do it.
Well, yeah.
I can do it.
Okay, websites, yes. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think you're safe.
Well, you just said it was connected. So like it makes no sense.
I know that's my problem. They pleaded with everybody to say keep the spoilers under wraps for 2 weeks, and yet they say, it's all connected.
I'll message Michelle and Lauren like an hour after it airs and see what they say. But there you go for episode number 236 of the officialgeek.com show. I'm Stephen John Drew saying thanks for coming on by. We hope you had a lot of fun. We enjoyed having you.
And I'm Stargate Pioneer saying go see Avengers Infinity War, and I miss flying my drone.
And I'm Chris Farrell, and I'm going to spoil Avengers Infinity War for Steven. Everyone dies.
What? That's probably true. Bye!
Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions, which stream Mondays at 8:45 p.m. Eastern at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at GonnaGeek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of the Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next week.